All right, so as we saw in the previous section, we had a new record to add to our collection of students when we run our tests every single time. And I told you that we will analyze to see if it presents a problem. So yeah, the short answer is yeah, it causes a problem. For example, we'll write a test and insert a record into the students collection. And then what if we search to see whether there is a person named Jason here, but if we don't clean up the collection, the test will always be successful, even if it is actually broken, right? You see that. So it is really important here to be sure that we make a cleanup every time that we run our test in the test suite. So let's have a look at this diagram. So when Mocha starts, we've got to empty out our collection of students. And then after it's all clean, we can run the test. Clean the collection of students. And then we can repeat the process. So by doing it this way, we make sure that every test we run, it's in isolation. There won't be any remainder of another test. And sure, you probably guessed it or knew it intuitively, but I do need to tell you that it actually will have, at this point, a small impact, but it's going to impact the performance. All right, so let's write the code to drop all the records before starting to run a test. All right, so now we're in the test folder in the project directory. Open up the test helper file. I'm going to use hook, and that's a function that's executed before the test gets executed in the test suite. So we'll define the hook under the mongoose connect statements. So here we write before each and pass it a fat arrow function. Now before each is a hook, and it will run before each test. So it'll empty out our database, and then it'll run our test. Now the challenging part here is that we've got to find our collection of students and drop all the records inside. So we're going to write mongoose.connection.collections.students. So this gives the direct reference to our collection of students. We put the drop function at the end, and this means that it'll delete all the records inside of the student's collection. All right, so that's how we clean up all the records before the running of each test. Now there's one more thing that we got to do here. So you remember that when Mongoose starts to reach out to Mongo, it takes a little time to show the results, whether it's a failure or a success. So just like that, this idea can apply to every operation on a collection. So you know that Mongoose is asynchronous. So because of that, we've got to be sure that we pause the testing environment and tell Mocha to stop until this rather long operation is over. All right? So here's where we use callback. This is the done callback. After the long-running process is done, we'll call this done callback, which is provided by Mocha automatically. Now the test will continue after we call this done, as you see in the diagram. So when our code drop accepts the callback function when it completes the dropping process. So we will pass a callback function, and it will be executed when all the students are done. Now this is the time when it's now ready to execute the next test. All right? So every single function in Mocha, such as the before each, it, and describe, that's going to get called with a done callback. So we write done as an argument in before each, and this tells Mocha that if I'm calling this function, it means that I am complete and it is okay to run the next one. Okay, so here we write done, and we wait for the dropping of the collection of students, and it's a signal to Mocha that it can continue to run. So now let's get back to the terminal and run this test. And as you see, we are successful. Now, if we look at the collection of students, we can see that there's only one record there, right? As opposed to what we saw earlier. All the other records, however many there could have been, are deleted automatically. Now, the reason why there's only one student is that we have cleaned the records before each test. So if we do it again, run the test again, and have a look at the collection of students, we see that it is indeed the same, but this time, look at this, it's a different ID. Catch my drift? Cool. So in the next section, we're going to create an assertion by using the assert function, because as you can see, well, there is no assertion inside of here.